What happens when one of television's most respected journalists sits down with a duchess who refuses to play by the rules? In just 33 seconds, a carefully orchestrated primetime interview unravels into television chaos, exposing a side of royal rebellion that no one saw coming. This is the untold story of how Anderson Cooper, the unshakable voice of reason, found himself face to face with entitlement wrapped in designer clothing, and how one explosive outburst would change everything. The studio lights are hot, brighter than usual. Anderson Cooper sits across from Meghan Markle, his signature silver hair perfectly in place, his demeanor calm and collected. He has done this 1,000 times before. Interviewed presidents, world leaders, celebrities at their highest and lowest points. This should be no different. The cameras are rolling. America is watching. This is supposed to be a straightforward conversation about her latest charitable endeavors, her life after stepping back from royal duties, her perspective on modern activism. But something feels off from the very beginning. Anderson opens with a gentle question, the kind he has perfected over decades of interviewing. His voice is warm, professional, inviting. Thank you for joining us tonight. I want to start by asking about your foundation work. You have been vocal about several causes. Can you tell our viewers what drives your passion for these particular issues? Meghan shifts in her seat. Her expression is pleasant, but there is something sharp behind her eyes. She smiles, but it does not quite reach those eyes. Well, Anderson, I think what people do not understand is that when you have lived the life I have lived, when you have experienced what I have experienced, you develop a certain clarity about what truly matters in this world. Anderson nods, encouraging her to continue. He is used to guests who take their time to warm up, who need a moment to find their rhythm. Of course. And those experiences have clearly shaped your approach to advocacy. Shaped? Meghan repeats, her voice taking on a slight edge. I would say they have defined it entirely. You see, Anderson, not everyone gets to sit in a position of privilege and actually understand the weight of responsibility that comes with it. Some people are born into their platforms. I had to fight for mine. There is a pause. Anderson maintains his professional composure, but you can see the slightest flicker of surprise in his expression. This is not the direction he expected this to go. I think many people would argue that marrying into the British royal family is itself a position of tremendous privilege. The air in the studio suddenly feels thicker. Meghan's smile vanishes completely. Would they? Would they really argue that, Anderson? Because I think what people conveniently forget is what I gave up, what I sacrificed. The career I had built, the independence I cherished, the freedom to speak my truth, without being censored by centuries-old protocols designed to keep women silent. Anderson leans forward slightly, his journalist instincts kicking in. This is getting interesting, but he knows he needs to tread carefully. Those are strong words. I understand there were challenges, and you have been open about some of them. But tonight, I was hoping we could focus on the positive work you are doing now, the causes you are championing. Of course you were, Meghan says, her tone dripping with something that sounds almost like condescension. Everyone always wants to focus on the positive, do they not? Sweep the uncomfortable truths under the rug. Smile for the camera. Be gracious, be grateful. That is what people like you do, is it not, Anderson? You invite people onto your show, you ask your carefully crafted questions, and you expect them to perform exactly as scripted. The producers in the control room are suddenly on high alert. This is not the interview they prepared for. The camera operators exchange glances. Anderson Cooper, to his credit, remains calm. His decades of experience are showing. I can assure you, that is not my intention at all. I am simply trying to have a conversation. If there are other topics you would like to discuss, we can certainly go there. A conversation, Meghan repeats, almost laughing. Is that what you call this? Because from where I'm sitting, this feels like an interrogation. You sit there in your expensive suit, in your comfortable position of power, and you presume to question me about my choices, my motivations, my life? Anderson's eyebrows raised slightly, the only indication of his growing concern. I have not questioned your choices. I asked you about your foundation work. Did you? Meghan's voice rises just a notch. Or did you ask me to justify my passion? To explain myself to an audience that has already made up their minds about who I am, what I represent? You know what your viewers think of me, Anderson. You know exactly what narrative has been built around me by the media, by the tabloids, by people who have never even met me. Now there is real tension in the studio. You can feel it through the screen. Anderson takes a measured breath. His voice remains steady, professional. I think our viewers are intelligent enough to form their own opinions. That is why you are here, is it not? To share your perspective directly, in your own words, without any filter. Without any filter, Meghan leans forward, her eyes blazing now. There is always a filter, Anderson. There is always an agenda. You work for a network. That network has advertisers, stakeholders, interests to protect. Do you honestly expect me to believe that I can say whatever I want on your show without consequence? Anderson's patience is remarkable, but even he is starting to show signs of strain. You are free to speak your truth. That has always been the purpose of this conversation. But I am also going to ask questions. That is my job. If you feel uncomfortable with basic questions about your public work, then perhaps we should take a moment. Basic questions? Meghan's voice is sharp now, cutting. You clearly do not understand what I deal with on a daily basis. The scrutiny, the judgment, the endless criticism from people who have never walked a single step in my shoes. And now you sit here, with your awards and your accolades and your comfortable life, and you dare to tell me that I should be okay with basic questions? The crew is frozen. No one moves. No one speaks. Anderson's jaw tightens, just barely. I am not your enemy. I have treated you with nothing but respect since you walked into the studio. If you have grievances with the media, with public perception, with how you have been covered, I understand that. But I am not responsible for all of that. I am simply here to have a conversation. Meghan stands up abruptly. The movement is sudden, startling. Her microphone pack shifts, the wire pulling taut. You know what, Anderson? I do not think you understand at all. I do not think you have any idea what it is like to have your every word dissected, your every move analyzed, your every decision questioned by millions of people who think they know you but do not know anything. Anderson remains seated, his hands folded calmly in front of him. His voice is measured, controlled. I have been a journalist for over 30 years. I have covered wars, natural disasters, political upheaval. I have interviewed grieving families, trauma survivors, people at the absolute lowest points of their lives. I have been criticized, threatened, attacked for my reporting. So yes, I do understand scrutiny. I understand pressure. And I understand that with public platforms come public questions. The studio is silent. Meghan stares at him, her chest rising and falling with agitation. For a moment, it seems like she might sit back down, like she might take a breath and reset, but then her expression hardens. You think you understand? Her voice is low now, dangerous. You think your experiences compare to mine? You are a white man in America, Anderson. You have had every advantage, every privilege, every door opened for you. Do not stand there, or sit there, and pretend that you have faced the same challenges I have faced. Anderson's expression changes. The professional mask slips, just for a second. There is hurt there, genuine hurt, but his voice remains steady. I have never claimed our experiences are the same. I have never minimized your challenges. But I will not sit here and be told that my career, my work, my life experiences are invalid because of my identity. There it is, Meghan says, pointing at him. There is the defensiveness, the fragility. You cannot handle being called out, can you? You cannot handle someone pointing out the obvious advantages you have had your entire life. Calling out? Anderson's voice finally shows some edge. Not anger, exactly, but something closer to disappointment. You came on this show of your own free will. No one forced you to be here. I extended an invitation because I thought you had something valuable to share with our audience. Instead, you have spent the last several minutes attacking me personally, questioning my integrity, and making assumptions about my life that you know nothing about. Meghan's face flushes. How dare you? How dare you twist this around and make yourself the victim? This is exactly what people like you do. You center yourself in every conversation. You make everything about your feelings, your perspective, your comfort. People like me, Anderson repeats quietly. And what kind of person am I, exactly? There is a long, heavy silence. Meghan opens her mouth, then closes it. She seems to realize she has gone too far, but her pride will not let her back down. You know what? I do not have to explain myself to you. I do not have to sit here and be patronized by someone who clearly has no interest in hearing what I actually have to say. Anderson stands now, slowly, deliberately. His height gives him presence, but he does not use it aggressively. He simply stands. I have given you every opportunity to speak. I have listened. I have been respectful. If you feel that is patronizing, then I apologize, but I do not know what else you expected from this interview. What I expected? Meghan's voice rises again. I expected a fair conversation. I expected to be treated with the respect I deserve. I expected not to be talked down to like some naive little girl who does not understand how the world works. I have done none of those things, Anderson says firmly. But I will not continue this interview if it is going to devolve into personal attacks. You are certainly welcome to your opinions about me, about this network, about whatever you like. But this is not productive for anyone. Meghan rips off her microphone, the small clip, clattering against her chair. You know what, Anderson? You are absolutely right. This is not productive, because you were never interested in having a real conversation. You just wanted another soundbite, another headline, another chance to boost your ratings at my expense. That is completely unfair, Anderson says, his voice quiet but firm. And you know it. Unfair? Meghan laughs, but there is no humor in it. You want to talk to me about what is fair? After everything I have been through? After everything I have sacrificed? You have no idea what unfair looks like, Anderson Cooper. You have no idea. The producers are scrambling now, trying to figure out if they should cut to commercial, if they should stop recording, if this is salvageable at all. Anderson looks directly at Meghan, and there is sadness in his eyes now, not anger, just sadness. I hope you find what you are looking for. I genuinely do. But I do not think it is going to come from attacking everyone who tries to have a conversation with you. That does it. That is the breaking point. Meghan's face contorts with rage. Do not you dare. Do not you dare lecture me about attacking people. You sit in your glass house throwing stones, and you have the audacity to tell me how I should behave? Who do you think you are? I am someone who invited you here with good intentions, Anderson says, simply. And I am someone who is asking you to leave if you cannot conduct yourself professionally. The words hang in the air like a bomb that has just been dropped. The entire studio holds its breath. Meghan's eyes go wide, her mouth falling open in shock. Excuse me? Anderson does not repeat himself. He does not need to. His meaning is crystal clear. After a long moment, he adds, quietly but firmly, this interview is over. Meghan stands there, frozen, as if she cannot quite believe what just happened. Her face cycles through several emotions in rapid succession. Shock, disbelief, fury, indignation. You are kicking me off your show? I am ending an interview that has become hostile and unproductive. Anderson clarifies. You are welcome to walk out on your own, or security can escort you. Your choice. For several seconds, nobody moves. The cameras are still rolling, capturing every moment of this train wreck in real time. Then Meghan spins on her heel, her designer shoes clicking sharply against the studio floor. This is outrageous, she hisses. This is absolutely outrageous. You will regret this, Anderson. You have no idea what you have just done. I doubt it, Anderson says quietly, more to himself than to her. Meghan storms toward the exit, her assistant scrambling to follow her. She pauses at the edge of the set, turning back one more time. You know what your problem is, Anderson? You think you are so much better than everyone else. You think your credentials and your awards give you the right to judge people, but you are just another cog in the machine, just another puppet doing exactly what you were told. Anderson does not take the bait. He simply stands there, hands in his pockets, watching her with that same sad expression. Goodbye, Meghan. She makes a sound of disgust and disappears through the door. The heavy studio door swings shut behind her with a dull thud that echoes through the now silent space. For a moment, nobody speaks, nobody moves. The crew stands frozen, unsure what to do. Anderson turns slowly to face the camera. His composure is back, that professional mask sliding back into place like it never left. We are going to take a break, he says calmly to the camera. When we return, we will have a very different conversation. The red light on the camera blinks off. The tension in the studio remains thick, palpable. A producer approaches Anderson cautiously, asking if he is okay. He nods, but says nothing. His eyes are fixed on the door where Meghan just exited, and there is something in his expression that is hard to read. Not triumph, not vindication, just a quiet, weary kind of disappointment. One of the camera operators mutters to another, "Did that really just happen?" The other one nods slowly. "Yeah, that really just happened." Someone else whispers, "Are we going to air this?" The producer looks uncertain. "I do not know. That is above my pay grade." Anderson removes his own microphone, carefully, methodically. His hands are steady. He has been through worse. war zones, natural disasters, hostile interviews with dictators and criminals. But there is something uniquely draining about this particular encounter, perhaps because it was so unexpected, perhaps because it was so unnecessary. He came into this wanting to give her a platform, a chance to share her story on her own terms. Instead, it turned into a spectacle. As the crew begins to pack up the failed interview, as people whisper and exchange worried glances, Anderson Cooper sits back down in his chair. He takes a deep breath, then another. In 33 seconds, everything had changed. In 33 seconds, a routine interview had exploded into television chaos. In 33 seconds, Anderson Cooper had done something he rarely ever does. He had ended an interview. He had asked a guest to leave. And somewhere in a car speeding away from the studio, Meghan Markle is probably already crafting her version of events, already preparing her statement, already deciding how she will spend this moment to her advantage. But inside that studio, among the people who witnessed it firsthand, there is only one consensus. Anderson Cooper tried. He really tried. He was patient, professional, respectful. He gave her every chance to have a meaningful conversation, and when she could not, or would not, he made the difficult decision to end it. Because sometimes, even the most skilled journalist cannot save an interview from someone determined to sabotage it. Sometimes, the only thing you can do is walk away, or in this case, ask them to leave. The studio lights dim, the cameras power down, the crew disperses, already knowing this will be the story everyone is talking about tomorrow. And Anderson Cooper sits alone in the empty studio, wondering how something that started with such good intentions could go so spectacularly wrong. But he knows. Deep down, he knows. Some people come to interviews not to be heard, but to be martyrs. Not to share their truth, but to prove a point. Not to connect, but to confront. And there's no interview technique, no amount of professionalism or patience that can overcome that. When someone walks into a room with a chip on their shoulder and fire in their heart, determined to be offended, determined to be the victim, determined to turn every question into an attack, there is only so much you can do. Anderson stands up slowly, gathering his notes that now seem pointless. All those carefully prepared questions, all that research, all that planning, none of it mattered, because this was never really about the interview. It was about something deeper, something more complicated than a simple television conversation. It was about power dynamics and past grievances and perceived slights. It was about someone who felt wronged by the world and needed someone to blame. And tonight, that someone was Anderson Cooper. He walks toward the exit, his footsteps echoing in the empty space. Outside, he can hear the city, life going on. People unaware that inside this building, something dramatic just unfolded. Something that will probably make headlines. Something that will probably be dissected and analyzed and debated for days, maybe weeks. But for now, in this quiet moment, Anderson Cooper is just tired. Tired of the drama. Tired of the theatrics. Tired of people who mistake confrontation for courage and hostility for honesty. Tomorrow, there will be statements released. Publicists will scramble, lawyers might get involved. Social media will explode with hot takes and opinions. People will take sides. Some will defend Meghan, claiming Anderson was disrespectful or dismissive. Others will defend Anderson, praising him for maintaining his professionalism in the face of unwarranted attacks. The truth, as always, will probably lie somewhere in the middle. But those who were there, those who saw it happen in real time, they will know. They will know that Anderson Cooper did nothing wrong. They will know that he was patient beyond measure. They will know that he gave her every opportunity. And they will know that sometimes, no matter how good you are at your job, some situations are simply unsalvageable. The door closes behind him. The studio goes dark. And the story of what happened in those 33 seconds begins its journey from private moment to public spectacle. A cautionary tale about pride and perception. About what happens when ego eclipses empathy. About the fine line between standing up for yourself and tearing someone else down. About the difference between being a victim and playing one. And through it all, Anderson Cooper remains who he has always been. A journalist, a professional, someone who shows up, does his job, treats people with respect, and maintains his integrity even when others lose theirs. That is his legacy. That is what will be remembered long after this moment fades from the news cycle. Not the drama, not the spectacle, but the steady, unwavering professionalism of a man who knows exactly who he is and refuses to compromise that, no matter what.